Scott, can you tell us a little bit about your background and how you got to know Portugal Ventures?
Yeah, so I've been a partner at Portugal Ventures and Full Funnel for about 2 years now, and I was introduced through an advisor to Portugal Ventures. They were looking for some advisory help with one of their portfolio companies, and I had been to Lisbon and Porto many times before, and so the area that this company specifically was needing help in was in sales, outsourced marketing and advisory management services, which was a space that I knew. And so I got introduced to Heitor and Joao Pereira, and just started consulting with that company. That was about 18 months ago.
Okay, great. You have a really interesting background and mix between sales, marketing, operations, and venture. What do you like the best?
Yeah, I think one of the things that's really interesting about our firm, which is unlike most venture capital firms, is that we really first start with understanding the needs of the portfolio company. So we never write checks first, we never invest first. And what we try to do is we try to understand what they're trying to accomplish, typically in the seed range stage company to A and B round. And most companies that are trying to accelerate through that phase, as most people know, there's about a 70% failure rate. And so what we try to do is we try to be operational first. We try to help them accelerate leads. We try to help them accelerate their marketing efforts and sales and revenue, most importantly, first. And what that does is it gives us sort of a unique perspective on the inside operations of the business, whether it's helping them with finance, accelerating that sales pipeline. Most companies in that C to A range are really struggling with growing revenue. And so what we do is we help accelerate that. So we get to know the founders, we get to know the quirkinesses of the product lines, and as we help accelerate those businesses, we feel like we're in a better position to then write checks to invest in companies. And really what it does is it mitigates that risk from about 70% failure rate down to what I call just the coin toss of 50-50. And if we can do that, we feel like we're operating in a much better way, not only for the entrepreneurs, but for the investors that have come in early on, and then also mitigate our risk as investors as we go forward.
Okay. With regards to Portugal Ventures, how are you different than other venture capital firms?
Yeah, so as I stated, most venture firms, whether it's seed or later stage, you go in as an entrepreneur, you pitch them with your current status of your company, whether it's really just an idea or whether it's at an MVP or minimum viable product or product market fit stage, or if you're using the money to be for growth capital. And for us, I draw the analogy of either dating or getting married. You just don't, very rarely do you just meet somebody, fall in love, and you're going to get married, right? You date, you court, you get to know the person, all the good, the bad, the ugly. And so in very many ways, we do that with our portfolio companies. So like I mentioned, we typically do not just meet with an entrepreneur and then invest. Our whole motto is that we don't have to be first, but we want to be right, and we want to be operational, and we want to help the portfolio companies accelerate their business, which proves value on our side, and again gives us unique perspective and insights into how those companies are doing. And we feel like if we are operationally ready and helping them to accelerate sales and revenue, which is the primary driver for most companies, then we're in a unique position to write those checks and mitigate that risk. So that's a little different than the way traditional VCs operate.
Have you been to Porto or Lisbon before, and what do you think of our cities and country?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, that's one of the reasons why I really have struck a great relationship with Portugal Ventures. I've been to Portugal, Lisbon and Porto many times before. I am very much into the culture, the food, the wine, of course, and I just have found that the people here are extremely welcoming and really have some interesting portfolio companies for us to do joint investments to.
Okay, great. How do you see a partnership between Portugal Ventures and Portugal Ventures?
Yeah, well, there is a tremendous amount of investment that's coming out of Europe, and in particular Portugal and Spain right now. And Portugal Ventures is in the fortunate position where they have raised a tremendous amount of capital to invest in Portugal-based startups. As those companies mature, and as we are partnering to help mature them through the seed stage and the A round and B round, usually through that growth capital phase, companies are looking to extend beyond just Europe. They're looking to go into Asia, they're looking in specific to go to the United States. So for us at Blarney Ventures and Full Funnel, we feel like we're uniquely positioned to be sort of the land and expand company that really helps them grow and establish that growth capital and put it to good use and accelerate sales, marketing, and management advisory services through our full funnel efforts and really then help them expand. So that's for companies in Portugal that are coming to the US. And then conversely, we have quite a few companies in our portfolio that are growing, that are accelerating beyond the A round, and they are coming to us and saying, okay, now that we have raised a $5 or $10 million round, where can we maximize our growth capital so that we're not spending a tremendous amount of money on offices and massive capital, operational expense related to staff. And that's where Portugal Ventures comes in, because they have an amazing amount of raw talent, both engineering, sales, and marketing, where we can deploy those individuals now and then use a land and expand strategy for expanding in Europe. So that's a great sort of synergy partnership.
What kinds of Portugal Ventures portfolio companies have you met since you've been here?
Yeah, so in the last 18 months, I've probably met with about, I'd say, 18 to 20 portfolio companies. I've worked with a few of them, again, accelerating sales, marketing, operations. And I have to say it's been quite an experience. I think that what is most notable is that there is a very, very open and receptive nature to the portfolio companies to learn how to accelerate their business, both domestic as well as in the US and in other areas, and really deploy strategies that give them sales, marketing, operational playbooks to then build the business well beyond where they're at today. And I find that to be particularly engaging from our partnership between both Portugal Ventures, Blarney, and Full Funnel.
What would you envision a perfect partnership looks like between Portugal Ventures and Blarney Ventures looking out 5 years?
Yeah, I think that, Portugal Ventures has, I think at last count, about 160 portfolio companies of all different sort of maturities and stages. Blarney Ventures and Full Funnel have worked with hundreds of companies over the last 4 years. And if I were to look out 5 years, I think that, as I mentioned earlier, helping here companies to accelerate their sales and marketing beyond just sort of the Portugal, Spain, or European markets and really get into the United States markets and other markets around the world through the use of our accelerator, sales, marketing, through Full Funnel. That's only going to help companies grow sufficiently past the area where there's the most risk, which is again in the seed stage to A stage companies. And for us, getting companies that are growing very, very quickly that need help in Europe, right? Most companies in the United States have deployed U.S. personnel and deployed them into other countries. They don't know the language, they don't know the culture, they don't know the business practices. And more oftentimes than not, that's not only expensive, but it also takes a long time to actually get traction because you're not really understanding of the local market. So we see Portugal Ventures as a natural extension of our portfolio that we work with to help them expand into Portugal, Spain, and other European countries and maximize the efficiency of the capital that we're deploying.
What is an interesting fact about you that not many people know about?
That's an interesting question. You really stumped me. I have 8 tattoos. I play in a grown-up rock band, pretending to be a rock star when I have spare time on my hand. You really caught me off guard, but those are two things that are unique that I don't think most people know about me. So thank you for asking that question.
Thank you, Scott, and welcome to Portugal Ventures.
Thank you for having me.